Hey Excels, how's it going? Zot here, and today I want to talk about one of the new builds I'm playing. It's called Volkuur's Poison Spark Pathfinder. Say that 5 times fast. Volkuur's Poison Spark Pathfinder. Anyway, so the idea behind this character was, can we make a Poison Spark build with either Voltaxic or Original Sin? Voltaxic sucks because it's a bow and just doesn't really offer much for spells besides conversion, and quiver options also kind of suck. And Original Sin costs literally 9 Mage Bloods, so that's off the table. So, option I'm going for this time is Volkuur's Guidance. These gloves let your elemental damage poison depending on which base you get, with a downside of 50% less poison duration. So these gloves are really popular among poison DD builds or poison cremation, the fire glove. But I wanted to try Spark out, so I'm using the lightning base. And this is really fun because it enables elemental damage scaling, flat damage scaling, the kind of stuff that you normally can't use to scale poison damage unless you're using a pneumatic dagger or something, but that's only for attack builds. So why Spark? Well, I mean, it's a classic. It's a duration spell. You don't have to aim. It hits multiple times, covers the whole screen. What's not to like? So in terms of scaling damage, we primarily need cast speed, damage over time multi, and lightning damage. So I crafted some wands like this, heathen wands with fracture dot multi. This makes it pretty easy to spam either essences for flat lightning, or essence for cast speed, or you could do chaos spam with the harvest bench. There's a couple different options. It's pretty actually tough to get all the mods you want. Like for this top wand, I would love for there to be cast speed on that, but I basically would have to slam it. I don't know. It's a little annoying. But something I found is that plus levels are actually not the biggest scaler here, so that made it a little bit easier to roll and craft stuff like this. My rings are around the same. Fractured cast speed, damage over time multiplier, life, stats, and then non-mana cost. One is dex, one is int. Ailment duration, you have to really compensate for because of the downside with the gloves. So I'm using that which was taken, that has a 3% duration per poison inflicted recently. On my gear and implicits, I go for element duration, and then also on the tree. Then something I think is often underappreciated for poison builds is Culling Strike, especially 15% cull. And I'm using the Eternal Struggle, which helps me solve stats, as well as gives me pretty good implicit modifiers. And then finally, with Charms, it makes it pretty easy to fit Frenzy Charges into this build, which was traditionally hard to do. You'd have to run Blood Rage or something, and that I would just rather not with this setup. So in terms of damage, defense and recovery, we're using the classic Grace, Blind, and Dread banner. The build doesn't really have a lot of inherent evasion scaling. I'm using Elemental Flasks, Quicksilver, and Onslaught. And Blind and Dread banner both really help make up for having a lower raw evasion values by diminishing the enemy's accuracy, so it kind of helps even out. Classic Fizz Elemental plus triple Elemental Flasks that really helps mitigate a good chunk of both Fizz and Elemental hits. I have Immutable Force and Blood Notch with ES Mastery, so basically every time I get hit, I get stunned, and I recover like half of the hit damage. I'm using a Vitality Life Gain on Hit Watcher's Eye. This is always really good with Spark because it just hits so much and so often, bouncing off the walls, constantly gaining life. I also have 8% life recovery on flask use from the mastery, and then 1 charm. So anytime any of my flasks go off, I gain 8% life. I have 1 set to gain charges when I get hit, so I get hit, I get charges, flask goes off, and then that is also on top of Blood Notch. And then finally, we have around 500 life regen. That's with Vitality, Flask regen, and a couple mods on my gear. This is definitely not the most tanky build. I have around 30k EHP. I'll be sure to share the POV in the comments. But this is just a really fun, fast kind of mapping build. It can do more kind of juiced Wisp content, but I'm kind of been building up to that. So let's just run a quick map, and we can talk about how it plays. Let's just run a Jungle Valley here. Sexton song, why not? So I'm not necessarily going for massive juice or anything. I'm just playing with pack size sextants, putting as many mobs into the map as I can. Just going for, you know, raw drops and XP. For brevity, I'll skip the wildwood. Nobody wants to see that. But yeah, aside from that, it's a Void Spark build. Just zoom around, shooting out these poison sparks. I'll go over my charms, but I do have one with the Chaos Explosion. It's only about 12%, but with all the poison prolif, I feel it feels better than, absolutely better than nothing, and I don't really feel like I need to invest more. Charms are really great because traditionally explodes and frenzies are one of the harder things to fit into builds. And since I can't use gloves, normally of course you would use Asenath on almost every single poison build. But I can't use those, so I opted for Temp Chain's Corrupted Volkuurs. What's this? Wouldn't it be great if this dropped a piece of the Adorned? Nope. But yeah, I'm mainly going for Abyss, Harbinger, and Essence. Then I'm using Alva missions and sextants, just because temples are pretty efficient to farm right now. Good money. Even if you don't hit the double corrupt, you can still get a divine and a half for Doriani's, or even just pure temples sell for like 40 or 50 C just because everyone's doing challenges. Proj speed does feel a little bit slow, especially compared to last season, but with what I have so far, it feels pretty good, and if I really feel bad, I can always swap out the deadly ailments for faster Proj. But I just really like how this build plays. It's pretty safe, you get a lot of life gain on hit as long as you don't eat massive hits, you know, you're going to be fine. I am still using a Dendrobait, so of course switching to like a Lightning Coil or, you know, a Rare Chest or something else would give a lot more defense, but right now the quality of life that Dendrobait gives, especially with since I'm still Eldritch Battery, is hard to argue with. I also did manage to self-corrupt +2, so I mean, hey, can't argue with that. Everyone's going to hate me for killing the boss, but hey, I just sit here and I click. Where is she? Alright, let's see. So let's look at the passive tree. Fairly standard poison EB spell tree. Coming over here for life, evasion, cast speed. It's kind of nice you can use elemental clusters with cast speed for elemental skills. There aren't too many good notables that I necessarily need. Doriani's would be nice, but I don't really need Leech with all the life gain I have. So this works out pretty well. Watcher's Eye. This was here. Most of my gear is self-crafted. Did my rings, my wands. Wands are kind of dog shit, but what are you gonna do? Helmet. Belt's pretty good. These I had made pretty early on. Eventually I do want to shift to a 100% either shock avoid with storm shroud or whatever, but this works now because I have a reduced effect of shock on my flasks. Cast speed, life regen, mana cost, etc. Fight lighting here. Eternal struggle. This was pretty good. But yeah, I don't know, fun build. I just kind of wanted to share it. The MTX that I put together is also quite good, I must say. But yeah, fun build. Stay tuned if I push it any further. I was actually thinking about going for an alternating scepter next, so I can get EO, and it's going to give a pretty significant damage boost. But crafting those is expensive, so I need to farm up some money. But stay tuned. I'll be streaming on Twitch, and yeah, let me know if you have any questions, comments, improvements. I mean, if I'm doing something really wrong, let me know. And yeah, thanks for watching. See everybody next time.